Hi YouTube, I wanted to share something with you real quick just because I couldn't find a video on it. I watched several videos, but what I'm doing is I'm replacing the door hinge pins on my 2000 Sonoma. Pretty much, I think all Chevys have the same type of hinge pin setup, but the problem is getting the door spring back in. And everybody, they have suggestions. Oh, you got to fight with it with a pry bar and blah blah blah. But it doesn't show anybody wrestling trying to get this thing in. I've tried with a pry bar. It's about useless. So I'm going to show you what I've come up with. This is my door spring, and I've doubled up on zip ties, two on each side. Now I just use some. These are corners for window screens, but you can't have the vise pressing on the zip ties while you're trying to tighten it down. So these work actually really well. Snug up your zip ties. I'd go at least double. I tried just two on there and it popped, so we're going to give four a shot. But yeah, and just do this really slowly. Tighten it in a little bit. Tighten your zip ties. Tighten you in a little bit. Tighten your zip ties because this thing cocks sideways and springs out. You don't want it to fully unspring, So make sure you tighten your zip ties as you go, and probably some eye protection at very least would be good in case this thing does fly up out of here. Anytime you tighten a spring, it's pretty dangerous business. So I'm gonna take this thing out of here and go put it in the door. All right, there you go. You can see the spring is compressed. I got it slid up in there and I'm holding it in place with a pry bar. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the zip ties off one at a time. Be careful releasing that tension. You have to make sure it's held in place well, but as you can see, it did pull it tight enough to get it up in there. Alright, there we go. It's done. May I suggest making sure you have a razor sharp knife to cut your zip ties with, because you don't need to be trying to saw this thing. And make sure that you have a pry bar or something resting here, because you're only going to be able to cut off one side at a time. What I did was I cut the bottom off first, and it made the spring droop down. So I held the spring up while I cut the top ones off. But that is a heck of a lot easier than trying to wrestle and pry this thing with a pry bar. Hope it helps you guys.